Hello, Rainbow Unicorns. Welcome back to my channel. In this pick a card reading, we are exploring the topic of growth and expansion. So, how are you growing in 2023 or at any time other than that you click on this video? So this is a timeless reading about what it is you are focused on growing, what it is you're expanding, and how. So we have 3 piles to choose from. We have pile 1 with a piece of raw amethyst. We have pile 2 with some peacock ore or chalcopyrite, and then we have pile 3 with some raw rose quartz. So again, piles 1, 2, and 3, and feel free to choose multiple if you feel drawn, as there could be other messages within those piles. That is all I have for you, my loves. Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to read for you, and I hope I can do it again soon. Toodles! Hello, pile 1. Welcome to your reading on how it is that you are growing in 2023. So on the day that I'm filming this, it is the new moon in Aquarius. So perhaps consider setting a few intentions of what it is you consciously want to focus on growing and expanding on in the coming year 2023. Now, keep in mind that this reading is timeless, so it doesn't have to be at the start of the year. It could be the middle of the year. It could be the end of the year when you find this video. So welcome, Rainbow Unicorns. If you're new, my name is Sienna Unfiltered, and this is my tarot channel. So I am thrilled that you're here. I think we're going to start with the Astro Dice. We do have the Emperor, the 9 of Swords, and the 3 of Wands. I'm going to just take the numbers. What areas of your life are you expanding or growing? We have the first house, which is the house of self. So this could be the way that you... Okay. This could be the way that you choose to speak about yourself. And it's interesting because we have 1 and 3. 3 corresponds to the 3rd house of communication. It is the house ruled by Gemini, which we have, Mars in Gemini. This is also about how we learn. So maybe you have a hard time focusing for some of you, and you could sit there and study for hours and hours on end, and yet you still can't really seem to remember how it is, what it is you're learning about. Some of you might be pulling all-nighters, or you could be working the night shift, and that is something that is bothering you because you don't necessarily feel like you have this stability like we do in the Emperor. We also have the 3 of Wands. Now, the 3 of Wands is Sun in Aries. That season, I think, is like March 20th to 21st, all the way to April 20th or 19th, somewhere around there. So you could find a lot of changes. Some of you with this Emperor and the 3 of Wands, you could be moving somewhere else to get that fresh start that you've been wanting. The Emperor has this scepter here. The scepter is, it looks like to me there's lightning in there. And the phrase, lightning never strikes twice, came to mind. In other words, when something bad happens, usually something bad doesn't repeat itself. So seeing the positive or trying to see the light in this situation, in this time of confusion, exhaustion, burnout, recognizing your personal power is really going to help you feel like all the hard work wasn't for nothing. I am seeing impatience here. So some of you could be waiting to hear back from someone either about a job, about a home, about a relationship. And when you do this, however, most of you assume the worst. And so I think you are growing out of that tendency to think in terms of black and white. The Emperor is all about taking charge. There could be a business idea that you are thinking about starting this year, or maybe you have, and it hasn't caught traction in the way that you thought it was. And so those expectations are going to disappoint you. Some of you are overcoming certain traumas that have happened in a safe space, such as a bedroom, or you've conquered it and you've grown from it, but you don't recognize that you've grown from it. You continue to see yourself as broken. And if that applies, it is something that takes a lot of time, but it also takes initiative with the Three of Wands. You have to almost motivate yourself to want to get better, to want to be a warrior for your inner peace. I think for some of you, adding some sort of structure in your life would do a lot of you really well. So for example, this could be developing a morning routine. Some of you need to get out of your immediate environment for you to see that power. I would recommend yoga. If you have a yoga studio near you, that is an excellent way to connect with your community, but also foster a connection with yourself. Needed a sip of tea. Pet therapy might really be helpful during this time, or perhaps some of you are saving or thinking about saving up to get an animal, such as a dog. Maybe it's a German Shepherd, maybe it's a little kitty cat. Okay, I'm really seeing this balance that is needing to take place between the masculine and the feminine. I also wanted to make a note that the Emperor represents Aries energy, so that's ruled by the planet Mars. We also have Gemini. Gemini is the sign that is in the third house. And we also have the Three of Wands, which is Aries again. And so the first house is all about the self. The second house represents money and your sense of self-worth. And 3 represents, again, that immediate environment and communication. And these 3 houses in the first quadrant of your natal chart are made up of your personal identity. And so what I think you're focusing on in 2023 is attracting opportunities for you to deepen that sense of knowing within you. This is a process of learning and realizing and coming to terms with accepting who you are, what you look like, who your friends are. The third house also talks about siblings. Some of you could be either one of 3, or you could be an only child. And maybe you haven't really had that connection with your siblings in a while. So making time in your schedule to do that this year might be very beneficial for you. Some of you might have Chiron in either your first or third house, which represents the wounded healer. Okay, it's an asteroid. So Chiron in the first is all about how you perceive yourself and how yourself was perceived, both in this life and in past lives. So you could have a fear of being overlooked, or you have a hard time accepting help because you find that you find an easier time fulfilling your own needs. But then when you get cornered, it's difficult to come out of that darkness. Chiron in the second is a fear of never having enough, and that ties into scarcity when it comes to our self-worth. And there's a strong need for stability. So maybe right now you could be going through some sort of transition period where your environment isn't the most stable. Or maybe some of you might still be living at home and conflict ensues and you don't deal with conflict or being around conflict. It stresses you out. And so finding a way to get out and break free from those stressors will benefit your mental health. Chiron in the third is a fear of not being heard or understood. And so there's this need of expression, both with yourself and with others. But I also think there's a beauty in Chiron being the wounded healer, because our weaknesses that are perceived as such might actually help us help others. So for example, Chiron in the first, you might help people express themselves because you've struggled with that. Or in the third house, helping others speak their thoughts because you've struggled to speak up and stand up for yourself. And when I said structure boundaries, think about the boundaries that you have with yourself. Do you go on your phone? It's almost like a boundary is like a promise, and a promise that is made to help you stay safe and to protect your energies from harmful people. And I'm not saying that they need to be intense or malicious, but when they constantly expect you to go out of your way when you do not have the means to do so, you feel guilty. You feel this deep sense of shame that tends to spiral. So I would say that you would like finding outside inspiration to help you get excited and I don't know why I said excited like that, and gain momentum. That might be beneficial for you to overcome that self-doubt. Some of you might not agree either with traditional forms of education. Like some of you just might not fit in really well with that traditional classroom dynamic, and you might have unconventional ways of learning. Or maybe some of you have an eidetic memory. You remember everything and you get made fun of for that. I don't know. Okay. This is a general reading, so take what resonates, leave what does not. Since we are talking about growth, I'm going to use my Green Witch Oracle. I hear that you do have a love of learning and or a love of reading, because it allows you to escape the perils and stressors that come from reality. We have black mulberry with wholeness. We were talking about you feeling potentially broken, and I think this is you developing a new mindset around how you perceive yourself relative to those trials and tribulations and traumas that you may have needed to overcome. I'm sensing that some of you had to grow up relatively quickly. You didn't have that sense of ease and freedom that come with childhood. So connecting to your inner child, writing a letter to your inner child. Some of you might truly benefit from journaling to feel whole again, or writing might just come naturally to you, or you might find it therapeutic. I want to read the little passage here. Everything should be coming together at present in projects and plans. The completion of something is indicated with black mulberries, and the energy of this fruit asks you to put your knowledge and skills to the test. Balance and stability are present, and from this foundation, the possibilities are expanding. Setbacks, delays, and miscommunication are challenges to watch out for. The deities associated with black mulberry include Diana, Brahma, Minerva, and Athena. The planet associated is Mercury, and the astrological sign, again, is Aquarius. And the quote that is included: little things seem nothing, but they give peace, like those meadow flowers which individually seem odorless, but altogether perfume the air. You might feel like an outsider or an outlier. I just want to encourage you not to let these experiences define you. They reflect in your character and your strength and resilience. But you are more than those experiences, and you are going to see growth from those experiences. Some of you might find solace in reaching out to a mental health professional, whether that be a psychiatrist or a therapist. But you'll feel less alone. I also encourage you to connect with friends or potentially a support group so that you can connect with others who have similar squares in their quilt. I don't know why I felt like saying that, but also for those of you who are dealing with a separation, could benefit from a weighted blanket or a weighted vest. I just saw 444 on the viewfinder, so you might be seeing that number, and we also have 4 here, which is stability, and we have 33. So repeated 3s and repeated 4s might be something that you see often when your spirit guides are trying to communicate with you. Sometimes I have to break up a bigger deck into smaller pieces in order to shuffle. I also think you might not be seeing the situation from a balanced perspective. So an emperor-like figure might be able to help you put pieces back together. I often tend to think of trauma in terms of the Japanese, I think it's a Japanese word, and I wrote it in my master's essay. My personal statement. Kintsugi is the Japanese art of putting broken pottery pieces back together with gold, built on the idea that in embracing flaws and imperfections, you can create an even stronger, more beautiful piece of art. I talked a little bit about astrology, and I do see that there's some constellations. So maybe looking into your natal chart, astrology and tarot were really healing for me post-trauma, because I needed something to kindle hope again. And yoga was deeply transformational. Okay, this card is one. We have the lizard spirit. Oh, my battery is going to die. Dream the world into being, so you might be manifesting some incredible miracles your way. So, dreaming the world into being, you have the power at your fingertips to call in whatever your heart desires. However, when you decide that something is not possible for you, your reticular activating system will show you evidence of that. When it comes to the law of attraction, you manifest your beliefs. So you can desire something, and oftentimes we question why we're not seeing our manifestations trickle into the 3D. But that could mean that we have some trouble internally when it comes to believing that we deserve the things that we are wanting to attract into our lives. I am also going to get a dream card, because maybe your spirit guides will send you messages in your dreams. Or some of you have vivid dreams. Others of you, I have a dream catcher above my bed. So maybe if you are having nightmares, maybe a dream catcher is something that you would want to get for your bedroom. Or maybe a nightlight, a salt lamp, something to make going to sleep a little bit more calming. Interesting. So we have school that decided to come through. Dreams of being a pupil at a school or some other place of learning usually relate to lessons you need to learn in your waking life, perhaps a basic principle or skill you've forgotten. There may be an opportunity to learn something new that you've either missed or need to pay more attention to. Have you ever learned from past mistakes, or are you repeating them over and over? If you're a child in the dream, this might suggest you need to bring some childlike simplicity to a current situation. Complications in your waking life may not be as difficult as they seem. If you're a teacher, mentor, or lecturer, this message of the dream could be that you need to be your own guide. You need to be your own guide and inspiration. Perhaps the answers you're seeking can't be found by asking other people. True guidance must come from within. I'm going to focus it in case you want to take a screenshot. I used to have dreams of getting detention, or like I'd be late to an exam. So some of you, again, I think we had talked about that you might not have had traditional or you might not have had a positive relationship with the traditional education system, but you are learning regardless from your experiences. Finally, to close this reading out, I am going to get an affirmation for you because I think you need to hear it. Also, we have 33. 33 reduces to 6. So between March and June, or between March and August, you could see some positive transformations building. And the Three of Wands is Sun in Aries. Some of you might be working on publishing something during this time. Some of you could find that you are just more creative and you're more energetic and you have more motivation to dedicate to your passions if you're trying to start a side hustle or get a side hustle off the ground. We have connection. I love this. I love this. I love this. I am connected to the multitudes and I can access their support at any time. Even a stranger offers a sense of comfort when they smile at me or make a dumb comment about the weather. Everyone is waiting to connect. All I need to do is open myself up and pay attention. Note to self, work on witty banter about weather-related stuff. Penguins, for some of you, could be a spirit animal. I'll get the deck, I'll get the card at the bottom of the deck as well. Get centered. When it gets to be too much, whatever it is, I close my eyes and return to my center. In my center, I have the wisdom and tranquility of a penguin, it says favorite animal, holding a magic wand, it says magical item, floating through space on a piece of furniture, on a bed. Oh my goodness, but getting centered. Perhaps exploring a form of guided meditation might also be of use. So I will leave a link to a guided meditation that I have been loving recently. The first time I did it, I cried. And let me know in the comments if you experience physical sensations when you're meditating. I feel like part of my face sometimes when I'm really deep in it can start to twitch. Don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. But I just thought I'd share. Anywho, that is all I have for you, Pile 1. Thank you so much for listening and allowing me to read for you, and I will hopefully see you in the next one. Toodles! Hello, Pile 2. Welcome to your reading about what it is you're focused on growing this year. We have the Seven of Pentacles, we have the Queen of Wands, and finally we have the King of Swords. With the Seven of Pentacles, this could be you are growing a secret crush or a desire of yours to learn more. For some, this could be working on healing childhood trauma wounds. Some of you could be reaping a harvest of your education, of the experiences that have gotten you up to this point. And with the Queen of Wands, I'm seeing that you're really stepping into your power here, okay? Let's see what areas in your life are going to be growing and expanding. We have 4, which is the area of the home. 4s are also represented by the kings. We also have a 5. Okay, so some of you might be working towards expanding your family. So if you maybe have issues with fertility, you could be looking at alternatives to explore. Others of you are working on your health, feeling at home, feeling a sense of peace inside your body, as well as in your home and in your neighborhood. You could be expanding your backyard. I don't know why, but like with the 7 of Pentacles, all the Pentacles suits are typically outside. I mean, a lot. It depends on the artwork, but you could be growing your own vegetables. You could be having desires of just wanting more wholesome experiences, okay? With the Queen of Wands, this is also possibly a successful business venture. Maybe for the last 7 months, you have dedicated time to getting a YouTube channel started or growing your Etsy shop. And it is now, between Taurus and Aries season, I'm seeing, that you are finally starting to see results. You have to be patient because the Pentacles, they're slow, but you have the skill set as a result of needing to navigate all of this on your own. The King of Swords is all about intellect and education. They are an expert in their field, and they take they take advantage of every opportunity to learn from a situation. But I'm hearing your spirit guides tell me to tell you that you need to take your own advice, because for those of you who perhaps are healers in the form of life coaches, counselors, nutritionists, even like yoga instructors, Reiki masters, all of that, they have the biggest hearts because they want what's best for others. Yet they don't sometimes apply the advice that they give to others to themselves. And so cultivating a self-care practice that is consistent is going to help you see results. I do want to say some of you might be new parents, whether that be to an animal or to a baby, a small human. And life is a journey. I would say don't hold back from exploring things that align with your parenting style and your intuition, but also don't shame yourself if you try something and it doesn't work, because there's really no handbook or manual that has all the answers in it. You have to be the one to seek those answers out. And sometimes that involves leaving your comfort zone. Oop, I didn't mean to knock the thing. So I think you're learning how to be more comfortable in that sense and taking risks on yourself. It's interesting because we had, in the last reading, we had the first quadrant being highlighted in a natal chart. This pile, my pile 2s, there's an emphasis on the 4th house, which is home and family and the root of psychological issues with regards to complex trauma. The 5th house is all about creativity and having fun. The 6th house is about health, work, and service. But while the first quadrant, houses 1, 2, and 3, are all about personal identity, these houses deal with personal expression. Okay? And mastering your environment And, okay, so there's an episode of Zoe 101. I can't watch those shows now because I just can't. However, there is an episode with Quinn, and she's trying to make a combination of a banana and an apple. I think she calls them banapples. But she soon realizes that the combination results in it having these properties that melt the seat. I don't know. I just remember seeing melted bicycle seats or like whatever. But had she not known that, like had she not had the desire to go out and take a chance in an idea, yes, she saw results in certain ways, but then she ultimately had to pull back. Does that mean that Quinn is a bad scientist if your science doesn't add up? No. Okay. But I think your spirit guides want you to take more risks, okay, that go outside of your comfort zone. Your desires are worth chasing after. In other words, don't let somebody else tell you how to do what it is that you want to do. Now, that being said, learn from others, listen, don't be super dismissive, but also acknowledge that you have the ultimate say in what it is you decide to pursue. Just like conditioning, I don't know. I grew up in a very Catholic household and a very Catholic family, and premarital sex was was highly demonized. I remember in our morality classes in junior year, we literally got pamphlets. We did a whole unit on the STDs, and it was like supposed to scare us out of having sex, which is just the wrong way about addressing that. But don't let those messages that you were conditioned to believe dictate your future, because you have more power than you think you do. So to sum up, I think you might be focused on expanding and growing your savings account to prepare to possibly move to a space where you feel like you can fully spread your wings and fly. Others of you might be looking at what you need to do to advance in a certain career path, whether that be going back to school, whether that be through an internship, whether that be through volunteering your time in a space that corresponds with the field you're pursuing. But have fun with it, okay? If you're not enjoying yourself, question whether or not it's, temporary, or if this is long-term. And if it's been chronically long-term, ask yourself if this is the field you truly want to devote yourself to. I thought, because this is a How Are You Growing reading, I'm going to bring out my Green Witch Oracle deck. We have Victory with the Crown. So you might be getting an internship or an opportunity to prove your professional knowledge and receive opportunities that you have been working towards. Nasturtium. No, I don't know if I'm saying that right. Nasturtium. I liked it better the other way that I said it. I'm going to read the little excerpt in here. Nasturtiums indicate a firm message of triumph and success over challenges, as well as support being found. They inject energies of strength and vigor into all they come in contact with and illuminate ways to find resolution and gain self-confidence and self-reliance. Advancement is possible now, so get moving. Do not become obsessed with a need to impress others or lose your belief in your own unique abilities. Uses: success, support, vitality, independence, and optimism. Deities: Brigid and Inti. Brigid is actually affiliated with Beltane and also Imbolc. Imbolc is the halfway point between winter and spring, so that is coming up very soon. This is a timeless reading. Keep that in mind. But Imbolc is acknowledged on the 2nd of February. It's also Groundhog's Day. So there might be messages or synchronicities that come up on February 2nd. And if so, feel free to come back and leave a comment down below. The planetary affiliation is Mars, and the astrological sign is Aries. And this is a very Aryan spirit. We have the Queen of Wands here. Also, I'm hearing like you're victorious by how you present yourself. So if you can, treat yourself to a new outfit for an upcoming interview, or get a manicure, pedicure if you can. Just find a way to spoil yourself. Show yourself that you're worth it. Okay, let's get an animal message. For those of you who are applying to college or grad school, I'm going to give you a piece of advice my mentor, my academic advisor told me. Visit the school before the application is due. It might sound a little backwards, but it works. It definitely works. We have the cat spirit, 13, claim your independence. So between now and March, that could be a very significant time, or between April and August, or cumulatively from now until August, could be a pivotal time for your self-growth and for you to see expansion. And I think you are okay with working on your own. I think sometimes you despise working with others because you have to compromise your autonomy, and therefore you sacrifice that creative control. But it also helps you build trust with others, and it helps you find compromise. 13 also reduces to 4. We have a 44 here. We have the 4th house. Some of you could also be dealing with again, I think I said this earlier in the reading, but your relationship with your parents or your relationship to your mother. Maybe that had some bumps along the road and you're working on forgiveness. And you might be surprised with how much of that inner work contributes to your external world. Because we don't often think to clean out our filter. But if you're telling yourself that your coworkers are gossiping about you, your reticular activating system in your brain is going to seek out proof of that. As they say, proof is in the pudding, okay? We have Tindering, looking for a match, meeting new people online, dating, ready to mingle. It makes sense. We have the 5th house. Don't feel pressure, though, if you don't like the date. If you don't enjoy your first date, I'm hearing, don't feel obligated to go on a second one to avoid hurting their feelings, because leading them on is going to hurt more than you being upfront with them. We had a few more cards drop on the ground, so I'm just going to use all of them. We have breadcrumbing, avoiding making any real effort, keeping one's options open, mind games, non-committal. I am seeing this too in terms of the Seven Pentacles, where it's like you might be working on a lot of different side hustles at once, or maybe this is a niche and you don't know how to niche down. So try what works, and if it doesn't, no pressure, just move on and know that if it didn't work out, there's probably a reason for it. Maybe it's not going to serve you in the long term, and your interests are allowed to change. We also have bye, Felicia. Leaving and not caring, a goodbye for now, dismissing it, over with, whatever. This is like the fifth house, in my opinion. You are saying goodbye to things that no longer serve you, the things that you no longer enjoy doing. Maybe there's a field that you know that is just not working and you want to declare a new major, but you are really going after what brings you the most joy and what brings you the most freedom, okay? And I know what changing majors feels like. I know what changing careers feels like. It's very, very scary, but it's also so incredibly worth it in the end. We also have flexing, all about themselves, selfish traits, pride, flashy, arrogance, insincere boasting. I would say if somebody has what you have already, take that as a sign of driftwood rather than playing into those feelings of envy, because divine timing is constantly at work. If you are not ready to receive, if you are not open to receiving something, it is not going to find you. Okay, so you need to keep that in mind. Also, I don't think it's necessarily bad to be selfish sometimes. You might have to prioritize yourself, and that might mean turning down invitations to go out to the bars, or you might turn down hanging out with your friends to focus on your business. I'm not saying it's going to be all or nothing. But if you really want the results, you need to be willing to put in the work to get there, okay? For example, if you want to grow on YouTube, posting once and then not doing it again, that's not going to get you results. Again, consistency is key, and consistency might actually be something that you flex. Okay. I'm going to get one more card, or one more deck, because I want to close with an affirmation. But I also heard don't let the pressure get to you. Like, you are on your own timeline, pile 2. And I think sometimes you let perfectionism get in the way of progress. And just know that if you put your best into it, you put your best foot forward, you have nothing to be scared of. To gentleness. I speak with gentleness and I listen with gentleness. I align with the gentlest part of myself, and I take joy in being receptive, open, and unafraid. What was I just talking about? I am like a baby deer who's best friends with a baby elephant. The baby elephant wraps its little trunk around my shoulders, and we lie down gently on the grass, daydreaming and talking about what sorts of humans the clouds look like. I love that perspective so much, so much. So learning to be gentle with yourself. I'm actually going to put that here. We have impermanence. Life is always changing, and I drift easily through those changes, good and bad. As I drift through hard times, I can take comfort in knowing that I will leave them behind. As I drift away from good times, I can take comfort in knowing that more will come my way. Impermanence is an equal opportunity non-entity. And I love that we have the clouds here, because clouds, they come and they go. They're made of water, okay? They're very heavy, but they're made of water. And water is this fluid state. So being more open to new experiences that are meant for you, okay? And growing your tolerance towards having an open mind and an open heart. So that is what I have for you, Pile 2. Let me know if it resonates down below. And thank you so much for letting me read for you, because I know that this can be a very vulnerable conversation that we have with the cards. So that is all. I'll see you in the next one. Toodles! Hello, Pile 3. Welcome to your reading. Excuse me. Welcome to your reading about how it is that you are growing and what you're expanding in 2023. Keep in mind that this reading is timeless regardless of when you watch it. It does not have to be 2023 centric at all if you're watching it at any time after this year. So with that being said, let's get into it. We have the Six of Cups next to the Empress and the Hanged Man in reverse. So when I see Six of Cups, anytime I see Six of Cups, I see generosity. I am seeing companionship, friendship, embracing and nurturing the inner child within. So maybe that is something that you are growing, okay? Six of Cups is Sun in Scorpio, and we do have the Empress next door. So this could also be growing in your marriage or expanding your family. I'm also seeing, because Taurus represents beauty, and so feeling this sense of feeling beautiful in your own body, perhaps after giving birth, or during menopause, or even when we're on our periods, just embracing how our body is feeling and how our body is changing, and giving ourselves a little bit more compassion and grace. I want to get 2 astro dice to determine what the main areas in your life are transforming at the time that you're watching this. We have the first house of personal identity and the self and how others see you. And then we have 4, which is all about home. This is the mother. This is your childhood. Maybe some of you are focused on reviving childhood friendships or reuniting with friends from school. Some of you are very focused on your career. And so, almost to the point where you're married to it. You spend more time at your office than you do at your home. Or if you work from home, you just have more hours clocked in than you used to. And you might be focused on getting some sort of recognition, promotion, or raise as a result of your dedication. And it's okay to take a break. Spirit is saying it's not, you don't have to give it 100. And yes, doing your best, but also if you're burnt out and you've gotten 5 hours of sleep for the last week, pushing yourself to give your 1,000% when you don't have it, it brings about feelings of shame and feeling shut down, okay? With the Six of Cups and the Empress, some of you might be parenting, and so you are getting used to this identity of being a mother. Maybe you're going back to your childhood home to get advice from your mom or a mother-in-law, perhaps. I also see that you're learning from mistakes, and you're starting to notice a difference in how you see yourself. You know how the first kid, it's like raising your first child is very different than raising your second child because you've had more experience. And so you sort of have a foundation to build on. That doesn't mean that you're not going to be faced with challenges. Some of you might be opening your heart to someone in a relationship. Some of you are holding yourself back because you might be scared of growing up or afraid of standing on your own 2 feet and what that would mean for you. And so giving yourself stability, finding a space to call home, finding a person whom you associate with that feeling of home might be a focal point. I'm also hearing maybe honoring your ancestors in some way by cooking their favorite meal, making an altar in their honor, talking about them, talking to them. If you've recently lost someone, and that may be very hard to do, so give yourself grace and time to do so when you truly feel ready. Some of you are focused on traveling more and seeing more of the world outside of the country or the state that you live in. Growing in the way that you see yourself relative to other coworkers. Others of you might be leading a team, so you're focused on uniting a team's differences in order to accomplish a common vision for the future. Some of you, again, that could even be you teaching. So you're obviously older and with those credentials and experience, but you also are learning from your students and these bright young minds that are coming into your classroom every day. I'm hearing that song Teenage Dream by Katy Perry. Some of you, maybe that was your shit when it was hot, or maybe this is like it's a message to pursue something that you've wanted to do since you were a teenager, or you're coming back to that aspiration. Like for me, it would be writing. I wanted to be a writer when I was 13. So it doesn't have to be 13, by the way, but engaging with your inner child and having that dialogue may help to spark some inspiration that you can make use of in the present moment. I'm going to get a card from the Green Witch Oracle deck, since we are talking about growth. For pile 3s, what are pile 3 focused? Some of you might be focused on expanding your garden or the way that you approach your health. Some of you might be, for example, going to see a psychiatrist, or you are making those appointments to see specialists. We have Wisdom 22 with the bay leaf. Some of you might use bay leaves in your cooking or in your spell practices. I believe that is Leo energy. And 22, oh my gosh, and you might be applying wisdom that you learned from 2022 to 2023, and you are starting fresh. I'm going to read the passage in the book. External assistance should be sought, which can take the form of personal consultancy or research. You do not have all of the facts or the faculties just yet, but you're in a good position. Bay indicates success through diligent application and also heralds new romantic relationships. Be wary of speaking your mind without care of others around you, as you are not going to be the most knowledgeable or experienced. We have, I don't even know how to pronounce this, Asclepius, Apollo, is it Caradwin or Saradwin? I don't know. And Cupid. Oh, Cupid, because Valentine's Day is coming up. Okay. Daphne, Delphi, Eros, Faunus, Helios, and Ra. We have Jupiter and Leo. Yep. Uses clairvoyancy, energy, wishes, defense, inspiration. Maybe you are incorporating bay leaves into your herb garden as well. I'm also hearing that you love to read. So expanding your palette, so to speak, maybe reading more nonfiction or reading a fantasy series that you used to indulge in your childhood years. So perhaps you consider rereading Harry Potter or Lord of the Rings or Percy Jackson, Lunar Chronicles. There are so many books that a series of unfortunate events, because it will humble you, but it will also inspire that inner child. Some of you are really looking for a recipe, like a recipe that maybe a family member used to make. So perhaps you go to, instead of like a traditional Meijer, Kroger, like a traditional Walmart, like that, you go to a specialty store, like an Asian market. I don't know why Asian market came first, but you could also be focused on saving. I don't know why this could only, this is a general reading, so whatever insights I am conveying to you, some will resonate, some will not. So take what does, leave the rest. Excuse me. I get some tea. But you could be saving for a new phone, needing to upgrade a new phone in the next 3 months or so. So make sure you take care of the belongings you have. Be careful about dropping your phone. Maybe think about getting a screen protector, or a new case for it. And use protection if you're not intending on getting pregnant. Interesting, we have the scarab beetle. Magic works through you. You might be a channel for the higher realms, for your ancestors to speak through you. I want to see, I'm curious what the book has to say, because believe it or not, I have not drawn that card before. You might be facing your fear of bugs or snakes or something that has to do with the outside world. And that could happen by accident, because a lot of the times we don't actively choose to conquer our fears. It's usually because we don't want to feel the way that we're feeling any longer towards a specific stimuli or entity, or we're forced to because we need to get out of this block. In ancient Egypt, the scarab beetle was revered, for the creative magic of scarab beetle spirit reminds us that we can bring forth something extraordinary seemingly out of thin air. Whenever you let your creativity flow through you, scarab beetle spirit reminds you that spirit has given you the gift of infinite potential. You have an ally as you fashion something new or repurpose the old, for spirit co-creates with you, channeling energy through you so that you can feel replenished and vitalized as you make magic with what is at hand. Now is a time for great optimism, for you can accomplish anything you desire and your creative endeavors will come to fruition. Miracles, opportunities, abundance, and love will appear seemingly out of nowhere as you allow spirit to work through you and magically manifest what you need. The protection message. Do you doubt your unique inner magic? Are you afraid that you have no originality or that creative juices don't flow through you? Perhaps you mistakenly believe you're not the creative manifesting type. Scarab Beetle's spirit message is that creativity is a living force that comes to all of us from spirit, who wants every person on the planet to manifest magic and co-create the world anew. You are as capable of resilience and innovation as anyone. If you do what you've always done, you're going to get what you've always got. So draw inspiration into your being and begin to playfully create something new, and do it without any judgment. Creativity and magic are your legacy as an expression of the creator, so let them flow through you. I saw 1616 on the viewfinder, and that's 7-7, and that's 7 is like a manifesting number. So maybe you're manifesting a whole new world for yourself, and maybe that's really far right now. So instead of doubting, instead of automatically thinking, well, I don't need that, or that's not gonna happen, try, because you never know what spirit has in store for you. 1616 is an angel number, and your angels want you to know that you're in a space for manifesting your desires, and this will come through a gentle, easy path. You don't have to strive or force anything anymore. Your intention has been received, accepted, and now it's your time to relax and allow your blessings to flow into your life like water. Some of you might be water signs. Some of you might be earth signs. Some of you might have a little bit of both in your big three. Let me know if that resonated. Focus on the wonderful things in your life, like your family and your home, okay? Maybe repainting a room will give a new vibe, okay, to the space. So, or even just decluttering and adding fresh flowers, that'll help. Light a candle. I'm hearing that some of you might be coming out of writer's block, which is amazing because I know how frustrating that can be. You are surrounded by individuals who care about you, and you must never forget how much your angels love and adore you. All right. Interesting. We have a side hustle, freelance, making ends meet, self-employment, part-time, hobby, odd jobs, extra income. Yep, some of you I had said were married to your career. So you are really focused on expanding this side hustle and getting it off the ground. Whether you're starting a YouTube channel, whether you're starting an Etsy shop, whether you're wanting to coach or consult, that is something. Make a website, okay? Have it look professional. The secret, too, is networking. You don't want to hold out on yourself. We also have extra, over the top, trying too hard, completely unnecessary, excessive, dramatic, out of place. You're going to know when things feel out of place, and maybe your current circumstances are having you feel this type of way with maybe too much crying or stressing out over the top. So take that as a sign that this path might not be sustainable for the long term. And I think I've said this before in this reading, it is okay for your dreams, your hopes, your interests to change. Not in this pile, I don't think, but in a previous one. Okay, I'm going to close with one more. Oh my gosh, I just realized 14 is Temperance, and Temperance is Jupiter energy. So trial and error might be necessary in the beginning, but once you find what it is you're passionate about or what you truly want to do, you're going to notice things start to speed up. But I'm seeing that there could be some subconscious blocks. So maybe journaling. Oh my gosh, I love this energy. Oh my gosh. Okay. I'm taking 3 for you guys. So we have no judgment. I release myself from any and all judgments. I find my inner critic, call it into my office, and tell it to take a vacation. As it leaves the room, I let out a sigh and begin to enjoy the joy of simply being. Who hired that guy anyway? Yeah. Who? Okay, we have strength. Love the vibe. You are hereby declared a strong, resilient warrior of heroic proportions. Enjoy your battles, whatever they are, because you're guaranteed to come through them stronger, brighter, and more compassionate. And, based on what I know about mythology, probably with great hair and a 6-pack. Yes! Okay, and finally, I love this card. It's my favorite. We have Abundance. Congratulations! It seems you're due for a little, scratch that, an infinitely big piece of abundance pie. Feel like you don't deserve it? Knock it off. It's already plated and ready to hit your table. Reluctant to take it? Shut your hole. Abundance pie is big enough to serve everyone. So get your whipped cream ready, unless you're lactose intolerant. There's an option for you. And enjoy your well-deserved metaphorical dessert. Bask in the sweetness. That is life. So I'm going to end it here, Pile 3. Thank you so much for tuning in. Let me know if it resonated down below. And I can't wait to read for you next time. Toodles!